Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Q&A on another Wednesday with us, the British Fist.
Catching.
I was trying to get rhyme, but I didn't. Oh well. Anyway, I'm Mr. Park, and this guy sitting next to me is NJ.
What's up?
And we're about to answer some of your freaking questions, starting with Aaron Crace, who asked us 4 whole questions. Leading by example, Mr. Crace. Do you think that John Cena will be WWE World Champion? Oh, perfect question to start off this Q&A, NJ.
No, he's not, no.
But he's eventually going to win that 16th and tie Ric Flair's record, isn't he?
And
so we all know that's going to happen.
There's reports that, Ric Flair wants it to happen. He thinks John Cena deserves it. No, get lost.
Do you think WWE will sign Gunner and Jay Lethal? Potentially Jay Lethal. He is still very young. I still think he's below 30, and he is doing very well in ROH as far as I can see. As of Gunner, no. I just don't see the point in them signing any of those two. The only reason I'd imagine they'd sign Jay Lethal is to work in NXT.
I've not read reports about WWE seeming interested in either one of these two. If they do, I keep on saying more wrestlers the better. Build at the mid-card, have different feuds. So, in all honesty, these are names within TNA ROH. So, maybe there'll be a tiny following. But I don't, see WWE looking at TNA and thinking, ooh, let's take some of those.
There is a rumor that Jeff Jarrett is going to buy TNA, and do you think that he will fire Dixie Carter? I've heard quite the opposite, actually. I've heard he's got a minority stake in TNA, and they basically, Jeff Jarrett would diminish that if they would allow him to basically promote GFW on the TV show, which they've done for the past month or so. So as far as I know now, Jeff Jarrett, as of, recently, with that whole angle now finished with GFW and TNA and that invasion angle, there's no way that Jeff Jarrett is in a position to buy TNA, and, Dixie Carter's never going to leave that company, I don't think.
I keep looking at this and rewording what you've asked. I'm not even sure about TNA's future without the whole... Forget about the buying thing. Not really sure about TNA's future. Yes, there are some parts to show that kick and entertaining, but I'm not sure how much further they're going to last.
No, and with TNA's future on Destination America looking very, very thin right now, you just wonder if there's any hope for that company. Do you think Jack Swagger will go to TNA? The only way that would happen is if WWE release him and TNA think, I'm going to have me some ex-WWE guy that's been World Heavyweight Champion once. Yeah, there you go. Renegade Man 83. Who do you think does a better Macho Man gimmick? Damien Sandow as Macho Mandow or Black Machismo Jay Lethal? Oh, Black Machismo Jay Lethal every day of the week. He did a fantastic Macho Man impersonation. No offense to Damien Sandow, who did it as well as I feel he could. And he actually looked a lot like Macho Man rather than Jay Lethal. But I still think the Black Machismo Jay Lethal was done a lot better and a lot more alike Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yes.
Should Dolph Ziggler leave WWE when his contract expires? If he goes to TNA, would it hurt WWE, and who could replace him? Well, he's not long signed another contract with the WWE, so he's going to be staying with them. The question really with Dolph Ziggler is, would he rather earn more money in WWE and not prosper so much, or would he rather go to TNA where he would probably not get as much TV exposure, not earn as much money, but be a bigger star on the roster?
For a few months before they get closed down.
Well, that's if it would have happened back when it did.
Yeah.
Thoughts on him being paired with Lana? I don't really have an opinion with that, to be honest.
I'm sorry, combine these two questions. Dolph Ziggler, I think he knows he's not going to make it to the top now, so I think he's taken whatever he's given. So with him being a hot shot to divas and women and stuff, I think he's running with that, accepting those ongoing, repeated storylines. So Lana doesn't really need Ziggler to make it anywhere to shine. So I'm waiting for it to end. And Ziggler, I'm guessing the WWE at some point will pair it with another diva.
Why do they always put Dolph Ziggler with women? I've never really understood that. How is that going to benefit Dolph Ziggler in any way, shape or form?
The hot shot to women, even though that's not helping him in the ring, and his managers don't really help him to win matches. So I just don't understand.
Thoughts on Seth Rollins' title run? Started great, has kind of declined ever since. I mean, I know I haven't been watching Raw, but you don't really hear all that much about Seth Rollins' title run apart from the opponents he's going against.
I'm going to say this. Seth Rollins as the WWE World Heavyweight Champion has been a lot better than when Nikki was the Divas Champion. And that's not saying much because it's the Divas compared to the main event scene. But there are more matches that I've seen Seth in, especially with Dean Ambrose, that I've enjoyed.
Are you guys going to buy the 40 Villains NXT t-shirts? Unfortunately, I'm not particularly interested in buying NXT t-shirts after my last experience with the WWE US shop. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to.
No.
John Lee, do you see GFW and TNA merging into one company, and would you prefer Jeff Jarrett running the company? I would never ever would have thought GFW and TNA would merge because I know that Jeff Jarrett, as an egomaniac who wants to run his own company, and it wouldn't have really made for very good. It wouldn't have made very good business sense anyway because the people that are in GFW still mostly appear on TNA anyway because they go for pay per appearance appearance deals now. So again, I didn't see any sense really in GFW and TNA merging anyway. I mean, I'd rather there be two separate companies that could potentially breed new talent rather than them being together and then just using the same old talent.
My slight feeling with this is more if TNA does, as we've been teasing in this video, eventually lose their TV deal, I'm guessing a saviour would be to be with GFW, go with them, wrestlers to move to them, or for somehow they do merge, because at least they'll be protected with a different company.
Thoughts? Oh, and as for Jeff Jarrett running the company, no way. That shouldn't happen. Thoughts on the primetime players winning the WWE Tag Team Championships? Why? Especially when the New Day was so over. I never understood why they did that.
As much as I'm glad that the primetime players finally, after their long period in the WWE, got the tag team gold. Once they lost it, at the moment it just seems that they're just back to a tag team, not chasing the gold or being taken seriously, apart from Titus. So I say it was good for them to finally get it, but it didn't really last as long as it should have done for the primetime players.
I mean, the New Day were just better, more entertaining. You could do more with them, and it was like, why the primetime players at this moment in time? Do you think Bad News Barrett relegated to the mid card for the rest of his career? Is he? Yeah. I mean, is he going to be Bad News Barrett? But yeah, pretty much. I mean, they've gone past the point in time where they could make anything out of him. So, I mean, a mid card at best for a guy like Barrett right now, to be honest.
I look at Barrett and think that if the WWE, even though he's in the mid card, if they continue to concentrate on him, I don't see why in a year he cannot be taken more seriously again. It's just the WWE don't really see that.
Who will face Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam? Okay, this question would have been asked way before SummerSlam. Until Undertaker returned, I really didn't know who. I mean, I would have thought he would have faced Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, but he didn't. And other than Seth Rollins, I'd have probably gone until Undertaker returned.
I think Brock Lesnar, of course, he's going to be there to do the main guy, so maybe you could have looked at a Sting, but I think with the Triple H thing, it was not going to happen. So I'd say it would have been Seth.
Yeah, Robert Hernandez. What is some tag teams that you like that never got the tag team title run? One stood out to me. Too Cool. As far as I remember, they never had a tag team title run.
Back in WWE.
Back in the Attitude Era. I mean, pretty much every tag team has had a tag team title run at one point. Crime Time. Did Crime Time get a tag team title run?
They chased Miz and Morrison.
Did they actually win the tag titles? I can't remember.
I can't remember them.
I mean, they'd be up there then. Other than that, I can't really think of any other tag teams off the top of my head.
I'm pretty sure that Robert's got some in his head. That's why he's asking. So I'll be interested to know who Robert's thinking.
Well, Robert, if you want to give us some, please do. But they're the only two I can really think of off the top of my head at this moment in time. Jimmy Ed Apparel. What would happen if Hideo Itami turns heel? I don't think the crowd would buy it, to be honest. I don't think he could ever really be heel. I just don't see how that would work. I mean, if he turned heel, Finn Balor would still be face if they were going to feud it. I think there's more to do with him as a babyface, especially with regards to his moveset and the way he is in the ring and, you know, his size. I think you can do a lot more with him as a potential babyface. And if you turned him heel, you just kind of remove everything that was good about him. You know, a lot of people like the kicks. I don't necessarily like the kicks, but a lot of people like the kicks, the flips, you know, the high-flying moves. And if he was heel, like, remember when Jeff Hardy went heel, you just have to get rid of all that, and it just wouldn't work.
Yes.
Cricket Sam 64. Is TNA trying to survive or prosper? I'll survive. I mean, you can just tell ever since about 2 years ago when they were struggling to stay on Spike TV. Ever since then, and then they've gone to Destination America, you can tell TNA are just trying to survive. They're not trying to prosper in any way.
A part of me, I think they may have had a time when they were trying to survive. But what I'm seeing and feeling, nothing big blockbusters happening that's going to help them gain ratings, gain attention, gain eyes.
That's because the TV channel they're on, Destination America.
Well, they could still bring in a big name to at least do a feud or a time.
Finances.
They're not doing that. So I think, to be honest, it's just they're on TV. So why not just put what we can on to keep people entertained?
So they're just surviving. That's all it is.
I think it's just
pretty much. Just all the signs are there. Yeah, we're going to work a GFW invasion angle. Who don't have a TV, who don't have a TV deal. Who people don't know anything about. Yeah, that's a sure sign of a company trying to survive rather than prosper. RFV089, Mr. Parkin. I've just found out that I've obtained a very high tutor in my second year in university. Well done. That's pretty much what I got. Actually, no, I got a high 2-1. Sorry about that. What advice would you give me for my final year to at least achieve a 2-1 in my degree? Well, the first bit of advice I can give you in third year is knuckle up, get your head down, don't party as much as you would in first or second year. Secondly, I'd say try and focus a lot on your dissertation, because in my degree that was 20% of my mark, which is quite a lot considering it was only one aspect of the university. So really get your head down in third year. Actually do some reading, if you haven't done already. I know it's a bit of a myth at uni reading, but do some, please, and focus on that dissertation. Don't do it at the last minute like many people do. Do it throughout the year. Get everything done in time. Don't leave yourself too much to do at the end. Get a good mark on your dissertation and your overall mark will reflect. I got a good mark on my dissertation and I ended up getting a first honours degree, which is the best you can get as far as I know. So that's pretty much how I would advise you go. Do you think people around Vince McMahon believe the current product is boring and rubbish? They probably do, but they're probably just afraid to talk out.
I think there are many guys who fans would want to speak out because they're not being taken seriously enough. So I think in the mind, they're not liking the way the company's going, the way they're being treated. But yes, they're not going to speak up to Vince McMahon.
No, because, I mean, if you're someone like, let's say, a Seth Rollins, and you're in the middle of the biggest push of your life, the most TV exposure you're ever going to get, probably, and you're just not going to do it, even if you think what you're doing sucks. You're just going to have to take the ball, run with it, and see what you can do with it. It's pretty much that's pretty much the environment that WWE puts you in, and it's a real shame, really, because there are so many people that could prosper if they didn't fucking do that. Should Dolph Ziggler re-sign with the WWE? I mean, we've talked about his circumstances earlier. I would say re-sign with the WWE. That way, I believe Dolph Ziggler would earn more money, get a lot more TV exposure, and set himself up for post-wrestling a lot better. He's now in his mid-30s, so he's really going to have to start thinking about that, especially after the style he wrestles, etc., and how the effect that's going to have on his body, etc., over the years. I mean, get that money while you can, and then you can retire, without any major injury. I mean, look how many wrestlers have, gone injured or have ended up dying prematurely just because they wrestled too long in the wrestling business.
With Dolph Ziggler, many people in social media, the YWC, WWE Universe, criticise him a lot. So maybe they would like the idea of him signing somewhere else, because obviously maybe he deserves better or he's not really entertaining enough in the WWE. But there are still many fans who like his style of wrestling, the way he is. So I think continue being with the WWE. Yes, we're not expecting the WWE to one day do something different with him, but at least he's going to be there to entertain the fans.
Plus, you look at Dolph Ziggler and, he's an asset to the company in the sense that You can always throw him out there and he'll have a good match with someone. You can always put him in a mid-card feud and you know he'll give it 110%. You know
he'll always put him with the Diva and make a storyline out of it.
And promote the Diva more than Dolph Ziggler, yeah. So, Dolph Ziggler. Sensational LJ94. Would you guys like to see WWE build Bray Wyatt up to face Sting at Survivor Series to do something special for the anniversary of Sting's debut and give him a win before the inevitable Taker match? I've always been an advocate of Bray Wyatt at some point facing Sting. Whether or not he's built up enough to do that in a big way, I don't know. But I think WWE could definitely build Bray Wyatt up and give him a big match. But I would do that at WrestleMania if he wasn't. I mean, if he recovers from the injury and he can wrestle, etc. I would do something like that at WrestleMania, frankly, not Survivor Series, which is a very meaningless show.
I think right now, if you asked this a few months back, I would have said no. Bray Wyatt goes from looking good to not looking good to losing matches. Right now, with this Roman Reigns, he's actually beat Roman Reigns. He's actually on TV. He's actually got a main event on Raw. So I think now's the time to be continuing this. Yes, to a later pay-per-view, one that counts. Maybe a WrestleMania, which Bray Wyatt seems to not really have the hottest wins and moments, and have him face Sting, and for Sting to have his last match or whatever the WWE are going to do against Bray Wyatt.
Lennox Watterson. If Vince achieves his WrestleMania 32 attendance goal, should he retire? Will there ever be a better opportunity to go out on top? I mean, that would be a good opportunity to go out on top nonetheless, but Vince McMahon and his work ethic and the way he's been with WWE and the way he sees it in his image, I don't think Vince McMahon will ever retire. I think it's going to have to take something big to actually have, like death, to actually get him to retire. Or, for example, a massive heart attack or something, or a big illness or something. That's what it's going to take for Vince to retire. He's not going to, he's not going to achieve his WrestleMania 32 attendance goal of 100 and whatever thousand and retire. That's just not going to happen because of Vince McMahon. He's the kind of guy, this is why he's been so successful in the WWE. He's the kind of guy that never really looks at the now and is always looking towards the future. Oh yeah, we've got this, but let's move on to Raw. Yeah, we've done this Raw. Let's move on to SmackDown. That's always been the way that Vince McMahon has been in WWE, which is probably why he has been so successful, in creating the corporation that is the WWE.
As much as I do think there should be a moment that makes Vince's finale or his last moment spectacular, that's why for a while I've been liking the idea of not a match against each other, no way, but Triple H and Vince storyline to blow up at WrestleMania. And if you're saying the big WrestleMania 32, storyline wise, go for it. Vince McMahon in real life, no, he's not going to step away.
Robert Hernandez, if you could run the WWE, what would you change, including pay-per-views, wrestlers, matches, titles, etc.? Well, that's quite a big question. We'll go with the four things you've said. Pay-per-views, obviously...
Gimmick, go.
The gimmicks will go, obviously, and you'd really make your big four pay-per-views stand out. Let's not have 12 special events a year. Why not have 8?
Once you remove the gimmicky pay-per-views, it'll probably go down to 8.
Yes, and I would, in place of that, make more network specials to try and promote the network a little bit more. That way, you're not overexposing the product as they're doing now, and you're making pay-per-views stand out. Special events stand out, and you're making these network specials stand out as well. As for the wrestlers, I've given them a little bit more freedom. I think the way WWE have their wrestlers now is very rigid. I'd allow them a little bit more freedom for their characters in their promos, in the way they tell stories. They're just very, very rigid right now. Obviously, we'd think about maybe 10 or so superstars that we can try and make into future fucking stars for the company.
That's what I was going to go on to. I wouldn't say listen to the WWE universe or the fans at the arena, because they're very, one minute they're saying this, next minute they're doing that.
Just go with it.
Well, yes and no. I would say go with it. Like, one week they might be cheering Roman Reigns, next week they're booing him, and I think it'll be back and forth. So I think if on a continuous week, a certain wrestler like Bray Wyatt's getting cheered, there's an idea to turn him face somewhere or start building up to it, because that's what the fans want. And at the end of the day, it's the fans' enjoyment and feelings towards what's being displayed, that's going to make them tune in and want to see more.
As for the matches, I think the one thing I'll say about the matches is let's stop making them into ROH spot fest. Let's stop doing dives to the outside every fucking match and not making that special. Let's tell a story in the ring. Let's quit it with the spots.
Get rid of tag matches.
I mean, tag matches, fine. I don't mind tag matches to advance storylines, on Raw. But the matches, some of the matches we get are all the fucking same. Like, even John Cena match now, they're all fucking spot fests. Let's use crowd psychology. Let's try and tell a fucking proper story in the ring for a change. That's how I would change the matches.
Overall, I think I'm going to sum up all these in a different way. The predictability, I think that has been something that I would change. Because, yes, there's dirt sheets, you've got to try and work around that. But I think the predictability, what's coming, fans can find out what's coming beforehand. I think the whole surprise factor, which we had early 2014, made it exciting, made it a great moment. So I think in all these combined, just remove the predictability of stuff.
Yep. As for titles, I don't really have anything to say about the titles. Just keep them the same. I don't really have any issues with that, to be honest.
The only thing I'd say, I've been saying this a while, is one mid-card. That's just my personal opinion.
But to be honest, out of those four, I think titles matter the least. I think the other three are more important.
Now they do, yeah.
Anyway, they don't mean much in WWE anyway, so what's the point? That's been another Q&A with us, the British Fist. We hope you'd enjoyed us answering your questions, and we will see you same time next week to answer, well, some more of your questions, won't we, NJ?
Oh, yes, we will. And from a D-Generation X wearing shirt and a very patriotic Mr. Parkin sitting right here.
I always wear this t-shirt.
Thank you very much for watching,
No
and
changes.
please tune in for next week. And there'll be some more questions, more answers, and more time to spend with you, because we only do one video a week now. Goodbye.